BTS News Today. Shocking news again rocked the South Korean entertainment world and the entire international cyberspace, especially the loyal fans of BTS, ARMY. Jungkook, the beloved magne who has always been known as a quiet person, full of dedication and mysterious, suddenly in the spotlight after a big secret about himself and Park Jimin, a close friend and fellow BTS member, leaked to the public. This furor involved not only ordinary fans, but also invited comments from celebrities, the media, and even high-ranking officials who recognize how much influence BTS has in the modern cultural landscape. Over the years, the relationship between Jungkook and Jimin has often been discussed. They are known to be very close, often showing deep emotional closeness, but still maintain boundaries that are not easily penetrated by the public. But this time, it's not just speculation or fan analysis that comes to the fore. A leak of information confirmed by insiders, as well as exclusive footage that is widely spread in cyberspace, making everything change drastically. No more room for guessing. The world finally knows that Jungkook has kept a deep secret about Jimin, and all this time he chose silence for the sake of preserving many things: the image of the group, Jimin's feelings, and even his own emotional stability. The news first appeared on a South Korean online forum known to have a credible reputation for leaking entertainment industry information. Initially, only one short upload titled, "What Jungkook hid about Jimin will change the way we see BTS forever." The post was accompanied by a short 25-second video showing Jungkook speaking in front of the camera, as if recording a private message. In the video, although the sound is barely audible, his expression was enough to make the heart of anyone watching him touched. He looks emotional, holding back tears, and called Jimin's name in an unusual tone, full of warmth but also hidden wounds. This video went viral instantly. Armies from around the world flooded social media with speculation, curiosity, and mixed emotions. Some thought it was an old message, perhaps part of private documentation that was accidentally leaked. But a few hours later, a former big hit managerial staffer, who now works in another agency, he confirmed that the video was part of a private recording Jungkook made just months before he entered the military. The purpose of the tape, the source said, is as a form of last message to someone who means a lot in his life, Park Jimin. More than just an emotional record, the next information leak became the climax of it all. Behind the video, it turns out that there are dozens of pages of Jungkook's personal notes stored in a journal that only a few people know about. In the journal, which reportedly has been written since 2017, Jungkook pours out his deepest feelings about Jimin. There is such a deep sense of awe, protection, concern, and guilt. In one of the pages that was leaked and has now been translated into various languages by fans, it says, "Jimin Hyung is the only light when everything is dark. But I never dared to say it. I'm afraid I'll lose him if I'm too honest." That sentence shook the hearts of many people. During this time, the public knows Jungkook and Jimin as two best friends who grew up together since their teenage years in Big Hit's training dormitory. They share dreams, fatigue, joy, and victories together. But not many know that behind it all, Jungkook keeps a deeper sense, which is not only limited to a sense of brotherhood or friendship. One of the most heart-wrenching accounts is when Jungkook writes down his experiences. When Jimin had experienced great pressure due to malicious comments from netizens in 2018. In his notes, Jungkook wrote that he felt he had failed to protect Jimin. He said that the nights after Jimin cried silently were the darkest moments of his life. Jungkook confesses that he always wanted to be a shelter, but instead feel incapable because limited by his role as an idol and his own fear of showing feelings too much. What makes the public even more emotional is the fact that over the years, Jungkook managed to hide all this with a smile. She remains professional, energetic in front of the camera, while harboring an inner turmoil that was never revealed. Even to the other members, including RM and Jin, he never really opened up about his feelings for Jimin. The few snippets of private conversations that have now emerged reveal that only Taeyong was ever the least bit suspicious of the depth of Jungkook's feelings, but he didn't even know how far it had grown. After the appearance of the diary and video, the public could no longer resist the growing curiosity. On various social media platforms, hashtags such as hashtag Jungkook Confession, hashtag Jimin is his light, and hashtag Protect Jimin and Jungkook are trending topics in more than 70 countries. ARMY united in a wave of support, not only because of the surprise of Jungkook's confession, but also because of the feeling of having to see how someone can love, admire, and protect others so deeply and secretly for so many years. One of the parts that caught the reader's heart was Jungkook's confession about the night when Jimin almost succumbed to the pressure he experienced from the media and the public. In his journal, Jungkook wrote that night, he sat outside Jimin's room for 2 hours. I just heard a muffled cry from behind the door. He did not enter, fearing that Jimin would be embarrassed. He just sat, wrote, and held back his own tears. The words he wrote that night were, "I'd rather be crushed 1,000 times than see him cry once more like that." Many later realized that Jungkook's recent solo songs have a very personal and emotional lyrical feel. Fans began to connect some of the lyrics in the song Still With You, My You, and even Seven as a form of expression of hidden feelings that he could never say directly to Jimin. Instead, Jimin's fans also found hints that Jimin might actually be aware of some of Jungkook's feelings, but choose to keep your distance for the sake of group harmony. Korean pop culture analysts also voiced. A professor from Dongguk University referred to this phenomenon as a modern tale of love held back by the pressures of social expectations and the demands of industry. He added that relationships like Jungkook and Jimin are a reflection of how humans can love each other in a way that is not always easily understood by the wider community, especially in a culturally conservative context like South Korea. Even more heartwarming, after all this information is spread, an anonymous account claiming to be a military insider revealed that Jungkook carried one small photo when he entered the military, a photo of himself with Jimin. Laughter in the rehearsal room used to be a witness to their early struggles. It was the only personal item he kept behind a military wallet. It's a reminder that he's not alone, right? The source. Big Hit Entertainment's party finally spoke up in a very cautious official statement. They mentioned that Jungkook and Jimin have a very strong and personal bond, which we never interfere with in order to respect the limits of their privacy and feelings. The agency added that it deeply regrets the leak of such personal records, but they did not deny the authenticity of the contents of Jungkook's journal or video recordings. Jimin himself has not given a direct response. However, one thing that surprised fans happened a few days later, when Jimin appeared in a short live broadcast on the Weverse platform. She looked calm, but her eyes were red as if she was crying. In a broadcast that only lasted 4 minutes, Jimin said softly, "I already knew, and I never ignored it. But I'm scared too. And sometimes, too much love can also hurt." That sentence brought millions of soldiers to tears. Not the least of which means that Jimin actually realized Jungkook's feelings a long time ago, but choose to let it grow in silence, because he himself is afraid of the consequences. In intense togetherness for more than a decade, it could be that the two have understood each other much more deeply than words can explain. As this news continued to grow, the public discussion changed direction. From being initially curious and excited, be full of empathy and respect. Many ARMY called for a Let Them Be movement aimed at protecting the privacy and emotional comfort of the two idols. They don't want the beautiful relationship between Jungkook and Jimin to be tarnished by irresponsible speculation or bullying from the public. The media began to flock to highlight how BTS's global fandom showed extraordinary maturity in dealing with this sensitive issue. They choose to support and guard, instead of muddying the atmosphere. This became a rare example in the history of international fandom, where love and respect for the artist are more important than gossip or momentary curiosity.
Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking